Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are NC.
It's a beautiful Friday evening in Kansas City. Throw a burger on the grill, kick back and watch the Royals on Fox Sports Kansas City as the Royals welcome the Toronto Blue Jays to Kauffman Stadium. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is Rex Hudler. And the Royals and Blue Jays both had dreadful months of April. But as soon as they turned that calendar page from April to May, well, both teams took off.
Some pages in baseball are harder to turn than others, Fizz, but I'll tell you what, both teams, it was light. They were like, let's get rid of that month. That month was horrible. Are you kidding? When you get up to a start like that, that is so tough to climb out of. Look at the Royals and Blue Jays, almost identical numbers there, and people were wondering why. Such a talented team, but that's why it takes so many games to play in Major League Baseball to be able to come through this. But look, they've righted the ship, they turned the pages, now they're playing to their capabilities.
And only the Houston Astros have a better record in the American League than the Royals and Blue Jays since May 1st.
That's right, Fizz, but look at these teams here. It's not how you start in baseball, it's how you finish. But looking at these teams, I guarantee you, maybe all of them will be in that hunt in postseason because they're talented and they have the right pieces.
The Toronto Blue Jays are in town, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the Jays' different lineup. That's next. Academy Sports and Outdoors for all for less. Fizz and Hud back with you at Kauffman Stadium. The Toronto Blue Jays in town, and they have one notable absence from last year, and that is Edwin Encarnacion and his 42 home runs. And obviously their offense is down from last year.
They are. The numbers aren't the same, but sometimes that happens when you move characters in certain teams. Encarnacion's doing the same thing now for the Cleveland Indians. But Donaldson, his numbers are a little bit down. Tulo's power numbers are down. Bautista, he's coming in, rounding into shape, but still 16 was great, 7 17 not so good. Hopefully we're seeing the not so good in these next 3 games.
Kendrys Morales, who played for the Royals and helped lead them to a world championship in 15, is now with the Blue Jays and having a great year.
We all know what this world champion can do. Not only on the field with that type of production from both sides of the plate, but in that clubhouse. He's a real pro. Hopefully he'll go over in the series, though.
He's a big fan of the Royals catcher Salvador Perez, and KC is still buzzing about Salvi Slam on Wednesday to beat the Boston Red Sox. Summer hits South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game July 11th on Fox. And one of those guys who certainly is All-Star Game worthy is our Salvador Perez, who is so clutch on Wednesday.
Everything Salvi does is for the people, but for his team, oh man, just the second row to do that, hit that slam in the 8th inning or later. Oh, him and Frank, wow. Not only was that grand, but 20th come from behind win was a beautiful thing.
Salvador Perez will be in that starting lineup tonight, and when we come back, Joel and Monty talk about the Big Slick softball game that took place at the K earlier tonight.
absolutely gorgeous night for baseball in Kansas City. 4 hours and 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Hopefully it won't be a 4 hour and 30-minute game. Joe Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. Let's talk a little pitching here, because Jakob Junis made a nice impression, struggled a little bit more lately. Let's talk about him and Arcia in the driver's seat. What's gone wrong with him? Walks are down, but the homers are up.
Yeah, I think the real key, when you're a young guy, you don't have overpowering stuff. You got to get in these pitchers counts that you're favorable. Otherwise, you're going to be pitching backwards, looking to miss bats, and oftentimes bad things happen. Giving up some home runs, 6 home runs in his last 3 starts. So I think keep the ball in the ballpark and throw strikes.
Well, he would have liked to have maybe been pitching to these guys, because they're a little more forgiving. But it's a nice stroke there from Eric Stonestreet. And when you got George Wendt as your umpire, it's always fun for the Big Slick.
Absolutely. They had a lot of fun out there today. A lot of skilled and talented softball players, too, with the Big Slick Celebrity Softball Tournament.
How about Slugger?
Yeah, Slugger, great effort going after it. I hope Lorenzo Cain comes up with it, though.
Yeah, no question about it. We will visit with all of those celebrities in the 3rd inning tonight. But first off, it is the Royals and the Blue Jays. Bat flips, perhaps. Fizz and Pud are back next.
The Missouri Lottery. Every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards. Save big money at Menards and all your home improvement needs. And by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest lasting full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. Well, tonight's fantastic voyage begins with the Royals taking on a Blue Jays team averaging 4.3 runs per game. Steve Physioc, Rex Udler, Joe Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery. What a pleasant evening. 79 degrees in summer in Kansas City, not too humid. Fantastic. And there's John Gibbons. His lineup tonight will have Jose Bautista leading things off, and he's the designated hitter. Then Martin and Donaldson. Kendrys Morales, our old friend, is hitting 4th.
Yep, nice to see John Gibbons there, and his managerial style is a lot like his body language right there. Relaxed.
How about Jacob Benjamin Lee Junis? He has a 2-1 record. His last start did not go well. First major league loss to the Angels, gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3. His first pitch is swung on and sent foul, strike 1.
Our excellent Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, I agree with him. He's got to be able to keep the ball in the yard with his fastball, slider, curve, and change. Minimize the walks.
And there is a base hit through the whole right side. Bautista is on.
Yeah, Junis just a little bit too much in the middle of the plate. Last 2 starts, he's allowed 5 home runs. But what's good is the last 2 starts, just 1 walk in 12 1/3 innings. That's important for him. Good slider, excellent slider, Fizz. League's only hitting 178 off of it. It's a good pitch, has some downward action. He's going to have to really mix his pitches and keep it out of the middle, because remember, the Blue Jays, while they're not maybe as powerful as they were last year, still score a majority of their runs with a home run ball.
Russell Martin fouls it off for strike 1, so they have gone after the first pitch. The first 2 batters, Bautista and Russell Martin. The one thing we noticed about Jake when he was in San Diego, pitched down below the knees after a tenuous first inning. His fastball and his slider were both either down at the knees or below.
And why wouldn't you? Because when you pitch down in the zone like that, it allows more ground balls. And this team got 4 Gold Glovers out there. The Royals are a .990 fielding percentage. That's the best in Major League Baseball. Pitch to defense.
And there is that slider that misses down low and outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Martin, very fine player, 7 home runs, 15 RBIs this year. But he missed some time because of a neck injury, and very quiet since. Just 6 hits and 36 times up. Smacks that one down the line, barely foul.
He's got his, John Gibbons has his on base percentage leaders up there, and guys that can walk and get on. That's one of the reasons why Bautista is up there, along with, yeah, he has some similar thoughts that Ned has with Escobar leading off. They're successful. Bautista with 43 walks, Martin with 32. They're both selective and patient and can get on base. The reasons why they're hitting at the top.
Yeah, they're usually in the top 5 in walks, but this year they are 12th in the American League out of 15 teams with 229. Just barely off the plate, now a full count.
Very nice spot right there, and Las Diaz didn't give it to him. See if Bautista's on the run. 4 out of 5 in steals.
He does go, and the pitch is a strike. Throw to second base. They've got to strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Slider caught Martin looking. He's got to go, and now 1 knee, 1 hop skip picked up by Merrifield, and Bautista's got to go. I was just getting ready to say that you don't want to necessarily steal early with nobody out. It could take you out of a potential big inning, and that's exactly what happened. Merrifield took his time as he was able to get the ball from Salvi so quick that he was able to make the pick cleanly and allow the tag. It's perfect.
Now Junis can take a big exhale. He faces the dangerous Josh Donaldson. Ball 1. Now Donaldson missed some time because of a right calf injury. That's why only 8 home runs and 17 RBIs. But you remember what he did last year with 37 home runs. And obviously the Royals scouting report says pitch him inside. First 2 pitches by Junis inside a Donaldson whose hands are basically over home plate.
And his hands are lethal. Dangerous. This guy's a player. He's a gamer. Both sides of the ball. Likes to play. Defensively, 4 around the horn for the Kansas City Royals. They're a very fun team to watch. There's no question about it. And last night at the wonderful Diamond of Dreams fundraiser that the Royals put on, I was in center field with my wife out there, and more than one time, maybe 2 or 3, I would take a peek at home and go, this is Locane's territory right here. Pretty special to be out there. And you know, it amazes me how big this ballpark really is. And for him to watch him hit him and go get him, slide to either side, pick up some dirt and throw out some reindeer fizz, a beautiful thing.
There's a lot of acreage that he covers in both left center and right center. Marvelous defensive player. Swung on and missed. Jake Junis, couple of strikeouts in the first. We'll have Merrifield, Bonifacio, and Kane coming up for Kansas City. .500, and Whit Merrifield will lead things off, followed by the rookie Jorge Bonifacio, then Kane Hosmer, and Wednesday's hero Salvador Perez. How about 6'5" left-hander Jay Happ from Spring Valley, Illinois?
How about him? He's a solid veteran pitcher. There's no question about it. Started the season on the disabled list a little bit. You know, took him a little while to find his mojo, to get his skills back together, but he came back now. He's got a fastball, changeup, slider, curve. Likes his fastball, 67% of them.
First pitch is low to Merrifield, and with this year hitting .289. And he's always done well against left-handers. In his career, a .341 average. Takes his strike. Now, you talked about the injury to Jay Happ. He missed a month and a half with left elbow inflammation. First two starts coming off the DL didn't go so well. Last two starts he has been outstanding.
No, he's a veteran. He's going to rely on fastball changeup combination, and that's usually a good pitch to get righties off balance, especially the changeup. But gets up in the zone. He's like any other pitcher. He's not overpowering though. He's, you know, averages 91 miles an hour. That's good hitting speed if it's out over the middle.
Look at the pitch efficiency last two starts. 17 strikeouts, only 1 walk.
And that is a good number for Happ, but even a better number for the Royals' aggressive offense. They love pitchers who throw strikes because they hack.
Foul off. Whit's done a great job with 2 strikes on him, Hud. Just fouling off pitch after pitch and then coming up with big clutch hits like he had earlier this week against the Boston Red Sox, breaking up a 2-2 tie when he rolled one through a drawn-in infield. And he had fouled off 5 pitches prior to that.
He's a tough out and a confident hitter.
Upstairs with the fastball, and the count is full, 3-2.
You mentioned how good he's been against lefties. This year he's hit .326 with 1 homer of his 6 off a lefty. Turn and burn, 3-2. He's coming in.
Tries to dump one to right field, but it will twist and go foul, and they'll try it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
6, 7, 8 pitch first at bats to lead off are the best, even if you don't win it and you can't get on base. The more pitches you see, the better off it is for you as you go back in the dugout, and hitters will tell you when you go back in your side, what's he got? How's he look? Because they want to know the fresh scoop. And come in there again with a heater.
Wint sends it high to the right center side, and it is caught by Parmley. Ian Parmley, who's playing his first major league game, and he had to go to his side to make that catch, and that sun was right in his eyes.
Couldn't come at a better time. We're getting ready to talk about him. He's making his major league debut, and he looked a little bit nervous going after that ball in the sun out there, but he's able to pull it down. Making your debut or coming in for a defensive replacement, the ball will find you.
Now Jorge Bonifacio. And there is ball one. Rex, we're still buzzing about what Salvador did on Wednesday, but in the 8th inning to lead off the inning, the rookie Bonifacio led off with a walk, and that usually leads to success.
It sure does. Bonifacio, he's doing okay at the top of the order, hitting number 2. There's some that think that maybe he could hit down in the order a little bit, but Ned's got him there. They're playing some good winning baseball, and he's not going to change.
No, particularly when the team has won 9 of their last 11 games, and most of those with Bonifacio hitting in that 2 spot. Of course, Mike Moustakas was there. Dale thinks he's terrific anywhere you put him. Fouled into the glove.
You know, back to the rookie out there, Parmley. It's a tough time of night, first inning or so. You're in the sun, and his glasses are not on. Okay, see this now? Had he dropped that, that would have been a real issue with the manager, because his sunglasses were on his hat and not on his eyes. But he made the play, watched it all the way in there. The reason that they got him, they needed an extra outfielder, so they went down. He's an organizational type player, been around for a while, and he has good speed.
Back-to-back full counts to Merrifield, and Bonifacio comes back with the fastball that is laced down the right field line, foul. Jay Happ had a look on his face like he thought he had strike 3 the pitch before. Fastball outside corner that was ruled in favor of the rookie.
Pretty good wind tonight, blowing out to right field.
And we've seen tremendous power from Jorge Bonifacio this year. He's hit home runs 430, 435, and to the opposite field with the wind roaring out at 25 miles an hour. Well, he could get some help.
He's got pop, but he won't need any if he's pulling it. And Happ continues to challenge the first 2 hitters. Yeah, they're taxing his pitch count early.
Already at 16 to get 1 out.
8 pitches to both hitters already this inning. Whitley almost was able to win his at bat.
Jorge's last home run was off a pretty good lefty, Chris Sale, in the 9th inning. Center field, Kevin Pillar. He is great defensively and makes the catch for out number 2. As we take out our Academy leaderboards, the records in June, the best in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers have the best record in baseball since 2013 this month at 79-55, but right behind them are the world champions of 2015, the Royals, at 74-52, and we remember that great month of June in 2015. The Royals got hot. Now Kane. Fouled off.
Yep, Happ's looking good with his fastball. He's challenging hitters. Jump on it. Pillar in center field using his right hand to block that sun. It's bothering him. Ooh, good rip there.
Happ has allowed 8 home runs this year, and 6 of them to right-handed batters.
2 out of Locane's 10 homers have come off of southpaws. He just missed that one. Fight off the breaker. On the disabled list for 6 weeks, Fizz, One rehab start was all he took, Jay Happ. And you know why? Because they needed starting pitching, and he's a gamer, and he's a veteran. He goes, let me get my work in. So he had to pitch 4 innings for a few outings, and now he's got 3 strikeouts to start, or excuse me, 3 pop-ups to start this inning here.
Lorenzo pops up. We'll be right back and check out Kendrys Morales. As he steps to home plate, Salvador Perez with a pat on the back. He was much loved, and he came into the Royals clubhouse, and the whole place just erupted today, and guys ran to him, gave him a hug. And we asked Ned Yost what he missed most about him, and he goes, well, Kendrys would usually be in the clubhouse first when he was with the Royals, and I always remember him putting on that Frank Sinatra music. I love it.
It's soothing.
It is.
Frank's, you know, and to be able to react and play this game of baseball, you need to be soothed with soft, gentle music.
Well, he's all about flying to the moon. He's done it 177 times in his career. Like 52 as a Royal. Only here 2 years, but the players fell in love with the big guy. Big teddy bear out of Cuba.
Why wouldn't they? This guy is a tremendous leader and a great pro. Understands baseball inside out. An energy giver, not a taker. Comes to play every day. Shows up with video. Shows up in the weight room. He's everywhere. He gets to the mark, like you said earlier. Look at this, though. He has a tremendous knack to square up that ball. That homer right there, I got goosebumps just now again.
Yeah.
Dangerous. If anybody's on base, especially here this weekend, don't give him anything good to hit, because he loves to turn and burn on a heater.
He had 3 big home runs in that American League Division Series against Houston.
Okay, and a heater is a fastball. Now he just missed that.
Alex right there to make the catch for out number 1. But Rex, I think the one play that Royals fans remember most was when Kendrys hit the ball up the middle off the glove of Carlos Correa. A sure double play, and the Royals rallied from 4 runs down to not only tie the game but take the lead and win it and send it to Game 5, where Kansas City would win and go on to beat the Mets in the World Championship. Now Tulowitzki.
Royals wouldn't have their ring if it wasn't for Morales.
Tulo's battled injuries this year. Since he returned from the disabled list, only hitting .203.
Had a little hamstring issue. Ooh, man. Good spot. Salvi hesitated a little, throwing it back, saying, hey, now. That's a strike.
Laz Diaz is our home plate umpire.
Ooh, no, come on.
Caught a lot of the plate. Fastball knocked foul. I remember talking with Royals official John Wathan about Jake Junis last year, and John at the dinner table said Jake is a sleeper. Nobody talks about Junis, but he has good stuff and good command, and when he's good, everything is down in the zone.
Outfield playing Tulowitzki to pull.
Hipped it down, couldn't do much with it. Bonifacio makes the catch, and 2 out very quickly here in the 2nd inning.
Tell you what, that strike him out, throw him out play in the 1st inning really helped Jake Junis in the worst way. We know how sometimes 1st innings are difficult for young pitchers, old pitchers. It doesn't matter for any pitcher to get his timing and rhythm. But 3-2, Bautista took off, and that cold 3rd, and then Salvi nailed him. That was a huge sigh of relief for Junis.
Yeah, what if he throws a ball, then it's 1st and 2nd, nobody out, facing Josh Donaldson.
All right, and Junis is a little bit nervous about that, I'm sure, but instead he's cruising through.
Well, how about this young man, Dwight Smith? You played with his dad.
I know it. Can you believe that? This young man right here, hopefully he can have the 8 years to more career his dad had. 10 games. He's got a little pop. Likes to spray the ball around.
Well, much like his father did. His dad played for the Braves among many other teams from '89 to '96. He was part of the Braves World Championship team in '95. Was his pop?
Yeah, '94 he was with the Angels, and that's when we were teammates. And did you know, Fizz, I wonder if Smith Jr. can sing like his dad, because his dad had pipes and he would sing the anthem.
Junis gets a strike across, a 3-1 count. He hails from Peachtree City, Georgia. Just 7 for 20 this year. To the left side and through. That's his 8th hit of the season. Both of the hits tonight have been to the opposite field. The right-hander Bautista to right field, and the lefty Smith to left field.
Yep, just put it in play. Amazing what you can do when you use the opposite field. Find holes. Sometimes you try to pull it, it forces things, and there's always somebody there, it seems like.
Now Kevin Pillar. He's mainly known for his defense. He's added a bit of power this year with 8 home runs and only belted 7 last year.
He was up at the top of the order and leading off for a while this year, but
Balk.
Let me see if you make any movement or anything like that. Let's watch this. See what he does here. Oops.
Yeah.
He was sorry. That's right. He was already in contact with his right foot on the rubber, and he accidentally made a mistake.
Lars swings and misses, and I like what Jake did there. He forgot about the balk. He just went out and executed a good pitch.
Yeah, he wants to do that, but Pillar wasn't comfortable leading off for Gibbons. Gibbons said it was giving him fits. It couldn't help the team, and it bugged him.
How about that? And then he goes back to back with the slider and strikes out Pillar, leaves Smith alone at second base. We'll see Hosmer and this man, Salvador Perez, when we come back. Eric Hosmer will lead things off for Kansas City, and he's been one of baseball's top hitters since the beginning of May. Hosmer's season average at 305, but hitting 344 since May 1st. Jay Happ's first pitch to him is taken for strike one. His home run against the Red Sox went to left center field.
You see these splits here, what Happ's done against lefties and righties. Lefties much higher average, kind of like similar to tomorrow night's starter for the Royals, Jason Vargas. It's because too many balls left out of over the middle. Breaking balls, sliders that hang. Sometimes, you know, when you're a left-handed pitcher, you're going to face left-handed hitters. You're going to sweep breaking balls more often than fastballs, and when they hang, they get hit.
And only Corey Dickerson of Tampa Bay has a higher batting average by a lefty against lefties, and Hosmer takes it down that left side. But will a left-handed batter, Hud, take away one of his most effective pitches, the changeup?
Sometimes it does, depending on whether the pitcher's comfortable throwing it to the lefties. Mainly that pitch is designed for a right-hander because it goes away to the right-handed bat, and when it goes into the left-handed bat, it's highly nitro. It's highly flammable.
Hosmer swings and misses and strikes out.
Okay, good pitch there. You know, he likes that high fastball.
And Doug Meyer is sitting in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat. He's an associate professor of pediatrics at Children's Mercy Hospital and has done a lot of work to help battle cancer. His work has led him to fostering numerous collaborative efforts between medical facilities, doctors, and scientists to help accelerate work on safer and effective cancer treatments. Through his work, Dr. Myers has helped to save and improve the lives of numerous cancer patients in not only the Kansas City community but around the world.
Thank you, doctor.
Perez grounds out. Now another lefty for Happ, Mike Moustakas, with 19 home runs and 46 RBIs, which lead the club. Happ was a former third-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Phillies, then traded to Houston, then to Toronto, then to Seattle, then to Pittsburgh, and now back with the Blue Jays.
Moose, .239 hitter against lefties, 5 of his 19 home runs come on against the lefties. Leave a mistake out over, he knows what to do with it. Ball.
2-0 count. Pulls it to the right side. Tulowitzki will throw him out. Nice easy 1-2-3 second for Jay Happ. 9-pitch inning for the lefty. by 4. Going further, so you can. Royals trying to go further as well. They have won 4 straight series and not lost a series in 6 straight since losing 2 of 3 to Detroit in late May. Jacob Junis will try and keep them on their winning ways in game 1 of this 3-game series with Toronto. Ryan Goins the batter. Goins' numbers have dropped to .216. They've had a lot of injuries, including to a guy who usually shares that second base spot with Devin Travis. Travis on the disabled list. There's a strike for a 1-1 count.
Yep, little platoon situation there at second for Gibbons. But Goins, 27 ribbies you saw he has this year. He just had 12 last year. So
shows he's hitting the clutch because he's only batting .216.
Right. That's right. He's hitting .343 with runners in scoring position. That tells that story.
He is hitting 5 straight. 5 hits and 17 times up. 3 of those hits are doubles. Hit sharply. Escobar gobbles it up and throws him out. 1 down. We've got a great crowd tonight, and you can join the Royals in celebrating Hispanic heritage with Viva Los Reales tomorrow. Before the game, there will be live music on the Outfield Experience stage, and local restaurants will compete in the annual Salsa Showdown. The first 10,000 fans through the gates receive an exclusive Los Reales barbecue apron. Visit Royals.com/Viva for more information and to purchase tickets.
Junis, he knows you keep that ball down, you're going to get some action behind you. Watch Escobar. Look at that play. Ball kind of comes up on him a little bit, keeps it, feathers it, finds the grip, lines it up, way open. Every ball he throws, most of the time, I want to say 85 are right on the money, honey.
Now Parmley, his major league debut as a hitter, hits it to Hosmer. Eric will win the race just barely.
Good try, your first major league attempt. Look at Haas saying, hey, now we don't know this young man. Haas, he's high hopper. He sees it. He says, whoa now. Haas has some skills of his own as far as running goes. He's quick.
Yeah, and Haas at 6'4", about 225, I think is going to win that collision had they met at first base.
Those weren't boost calls for Bautista, in case you thought they were.
Yeah, for some reason, Royals fans don't like this guy. Jose Bautista singled in the first, then was thrown out trying to steal by Perez. And they strike him out, throw him out, double play. Tried to sneak a slider on the inside corner on a 2-1 count. Bautista, one of the most patient hitters in the game, 3rd in the American League in walks with 43. Foul back, 3-2.
Sees a lot of pitches. Bautista, he's seen the second highest amount of pitches per plate appearance, behind Matt Carpenter. Look at that little thing swing right there. Oh man,
just by Kane.
Yeah, that's interesting. An abbreviated swing by Bautista. He looked like he stopped his swing in mid-swing and just kind of wanted to do that. And Locane ran right by it. It's going to be scored a hit, and it should be. Just a little bit over. Didn't quite take the right route. Took the inside route and missed it. Now he'll tell you after the game, That's a can of corn. I had that all the way. But he had to run for it.
Check swing. No appeal. Thought they might. Line knocked down by Moose, and he has no chance to gather it in, so it'll be first and second with 2 out. Well, he reached high for it. It was in his glove, and then came free.
Third out here in this inning for Junis. Tough to come by. 2 Royals that normally have glue in their gloves and never comes out. For Kane and Moose, both hit the glove and just couldn't close it down.
So now he'll have to pitch to one of the better 3 hitters in the game, and Josh Donaldson, who struck him out to end the first. Strike 1.
You hope that those balls that weren't caught doesn't cost him anything here, because this guy here is he can hit with runners in scoring position. Money player. Very nice.
0-2. Back-to-back sliders.
Right where you want to be. No need to give him anything too good here.
Slider in the dirt, maybe, or fastball
Maybe up. Yeah, that'll work.
And Josh knew it right away. He immediately started walking back to the dugout. When we come back, Joel will be with the Big Slick Boys. We're having an argument before the game.
Stadium scoreless, bottom of the 3rd, and one of our favorite half innings of the year, because it's our chance to welcome back the Kansas City Boys. Jason Sudeikis, Eric Stonestreet, Paul Rudd, Rob Riggle, David Keckner. Guys, welcome back. Eric, I'll start with you. How much fun is this, and how incredible the way it's grown?
Oh, it's awesome what Rob and Paul and Jason started and Dave and I became a part of is a really cool event, and we've said it all before, but the fact that Kansas City comes out and supports us and the hospital the way they do is just a testament to how great of a city we happen to be from.
True. You don't think, I mean, some people are here tonight to see the Royals too.
Not very many, though.
Oh, I know that, but I just want to just say some.
Yeah, 2 people are here to see the actual baseball players.
But boy,
I mean, it's not that much. It's pretty much
the softball game. It's thinned out a little bit.
Thinned out for sure.
It's definitely thinned out a little, especially. Yeah. Oh well.
I mean, maybe if the team was playing better, they'd have reason to come out. Though your team's playing very well.
Yeah, you mean our softball team?
Well, I was talking about the Royals.
Wait, you don't want to talk about our softball team?
I do. It was a great brawl. I saw some really good at bats, some good umpiring, all that.
Yeah, it was a lesson in how to play the game, I think.
I was actually really proud of my son. He was one of the bad boys out there today, and when the brawl broke out, he was the first one out there.
You taught him well. I'm going to get down here so we can see you guys. David, is it just your obligation because of your role in with Ron Burgundy and Anchorman that you have to announce every game?
Well, clearly I have a strong pedigree. People like the sound of my voice, and I think, again, you talk about the large crowds. I think that's what they come out for.
Now, we talked before the game. Eric, you were wearing, there's the trophy too. You were wearing football shoes?
Yeah, I was wearing J.J. Watt's football shoes. They didn't really make me any faster. I wasn't able to play any better, so screw you, J.J. Watt.
What? Do you have PF Flyers before that?
Yeah. I felt like I was wearing concrete blocks on my shoes when I ran to first.
How'd the Moose cleats go?
Moose cleats went well. I switched them out now to just the Moose slip-ons.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're all Moose
I got my Moose shoes on.
The fact that you can even do that with your leg is impressive.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be performing at Radio City Music Hall this Christmas.
That's with the Marvel superhero school. That's what that is. Those Ant-Man moves right there.
Yeah. I'm going to hobble away from this bench.
Drop in there. Drop.
So just like that, 2 quick outs. So I want to give you guys a chance, really pushing for Eric Hosmer to make the All-Star team. MVP last year, hometown of Miami. I'm sure I know a lot of people are watching. Any advice or encouragement for all those Royals fans on Eric Hosmer?
Yeah, I mean, you know what we got to do? We got to get some bots. We got to get some bots, get people voting.
Yeah. I think wasn't Haas the MVP of the All-Star game last year?
San Diego.
See, you can't fall that far. You can't fall that far from grace. He was the MVP of the All-Star game, so he's going back. He's got to go back. That should be on the bench.
It's a natural fit. It's his home, both Miami and the All-Star team. It's his home.
He was in the Will Smith video.
Yes. Welcome to Miami. Yeah.
That's him.
It's amazing the range here. We do Panama one year.
I was thinking of Parents Just Don't Understand. But that was Whit Merrifield.
Yeah. I think Moose also should be considered. He's been hitting like a madman, just pounding him out of the field. So out of the park. Oh, hot smash! Oh, the rat! Son of a gun!
Well, there we go. David, take us to a break.
All right, vote for your Royals. Also, go to bigslickkc.org and donate to our organization.
hits in 3 innings, and Jay Happ has been perfect through his 3. And time for our Sprint trivia question. Name the 5 Royals that hit a home run in the 2015 ALCS against the Blue Jays. We'll give the answer later in the game, but Salvador Perez, one of them. Kendrys Morales will lead things off and flips one foul into the seats, field level. Morales, of course, was with the team. And he's known for his power.
I'm going to let me have one.
Okay.
Morales. Okay, that's 2 for 2. Uh-oh. Ouch. Now that caught his foot. Little back leg.
And Jake Junis tied a Royals record last time out when he hit 3 Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
So 3 + 1 = 4 hit batters, and that's on the back foot there, right down the toe. See if he can induce a ground ball double plated. Tulowitzki, who's grounded it into 5.
And Junis has induced 2 ground ball outs. Both came in the 3rd inning. Tulowitzki rattles one though right center field, and that will drop and get to the wall. They're going to send Morales home. And Merrifield's throw is a little bit late. Kendrys scores, and it's a 1-0 game, Toronto.
Tulowitzki stayed inside of that Junis offering very nicely. His hand, his bottom hand, took advantage of the 2-seamer that was right out over the middle of the plate. Very good head position, nice drive. And Morales, if his toes bothering him, it's not now. He had plenty of chances to run that one off.
So a hit batter, then a double. 1-0. Toronto has the early lead. Dwight Smith now up. He's singled to left field, first time up, and he hits one pretty well to center field, but Kane will make the play. Tagging is Tulowitzki. He'll take it to 3rd and 1 out. So they are swinging early on Jakob Junis.
Productive out. Exactly what he wanted to do. Advance the runner if he couldn't get a hit.
Now Jacob will see his infield be drawn in with 1 out. Runner at 3rd. Pilar the batter. Kevin had a terrific start this year, was hitting well over 300, but now only 164 the last month. That's seen his average drop to 252, and Junis wants to keep him quiet.
Yeah, and a lot of that was in that leadoff spot, and just wasn't working out. Pilar only hitting 109 with a runner in scoring position. But with the infield in like this, it increases your chances. Looking up in the zone, and Junis keeping everything away. Would imagine Pilar be taken here. Oh.
3-1. They gave him the green light.
Okay.
Cold batter. Three and 2. Coming with back-to-back fastballs.
2 heaters by him.
Do you stay with that pitch?
Might have to. Let's see, Salvi knows best.
Slider did not chase, so runners 1st and 3rd. That means the middle infield will back up, play for the double play. Junis's first walk of the game. And if a double play takes place in today's game, McDouble sandwiches are only $1 tomorrow. The McDouble play all season long at participating McDonald's in the greater Kansas City, St. Joseph, and Lawrence locations.
Goins is grounded into 6. That's really would be ideal for Junis here.
Ball in the dirt, skips away from Sal, and Tulowitzki will score. And it is a 2-0 Toronto lead.
It's going to happen now. Salvi did as good a job as he could to try to get his body in shape. Looks like it might have hit a divot in the batter's box. I'm not really sure, but it took a funny hop. Yeah, I mean, that thing took off. It hit and bounced like a super ball. Hit off of Salvi's mask. And Tulowitzki got a good read on it.
One ball, one strike, so the Royals also lose the double play opportunity as scooting to second base Pilar, who has very good speed.
So the Blue Jays had to do it. They had to get the lead. Give the Royals a chance to make it 21. Come from behind wins.
In there, 1-2. Yeah, the Boston Red Sox had that 2-run lead going to the 8th inning on Wednesday. For the 5th time this year, the Royals rallied in the 7th inning or later in one of their comeback victories.
We talked about this situation earlier with Ryan Goins. How he doesn't hit for much average, but he's been getting hits with runners out there, and not this time.
Merrifield throws out Goins, so 2 out. Fans, the only thing better than one Royals game in a day is 2 with the new doubleheader pack. You'll get tickets for the split doubleheader against the Twins on July 1st for one low price. Get view level seats to both games for just $20 now until midnight on Tuesday. Both games feature great giveaways. This offer is only available online and is subject to availability at Royals.com/double. Here's the kid Parmley. Strike 1. He's 27 years old, out of Snohomish, Washington, 7th round pick in 2012. Spent 5+ years down in the minor leagues. Never shown much power. Pilar looks like he's getting ready to grill some hamburgers.
That's right. He's got that mitten on, and that is a protective device for guys that put their hand down when they slide.
Or if they're going to use the spatula and get the burgers off the hot grill.
Yeah, don't let Parmalee get his first big league hit now. And I'm 0-2 ahead here. The young man here, he's an organizational type player. That's what John Gibbons told me before the game. Didn't know a whole lot about him. Said he's put up some decent numbers down there, but they needed an extra body. And you hope you're the person they call up if you're in AAA.
The 1-2 hit to the right side. Merrifield has it, guns him out. But 2-run score for Toronto. 1 on a hit, 1 on a wild pitch. 2-0 Blue Jays. Today, the Boston Red Sox retire the number 34 for David Ortiz. And when you are a power hitter like David was, and you help lead a team to 3 world championships after they had not won one since 1918, you indeed get your number retired. And they brought back Varitek to catch the ball from him.
Yeah, I missed a little bit outside there, Fizz, but you know, Varitek was spry, looking good with his range. No wonder Ortiz was a DH.
What a player.
Yes, there was not any like it. That's the 10th player to have their number retired for the Red Sox.
9 up, 9 down for Jay Happ. Whit Merrifield, who flied out to right field, will lead things off, trying to break up Jay Happ's young no-hitter. Fouled off. Yeah, he was just getting his timing back after he missed more than a month and a half because of the left elbow inflammation. But this was one of baseball's very best pitchers. Finished 6th in the Cy Young voting last year. 20 wins, by far his best season ever. And the interesting story, Hud, he had been traded to Pittsburgh for just half the season, and Ray Searage was the pitching coach there and really got him to believe in his changeup, and he threw it more at the end of the Pittsburgh tenure and all last year. His numbers were fantastic.
That's a out pitch right there. I'm telling you, it's a field pitch. It takes a little bit of time to get that pitch to where you can throw it for strikes and be able to command it.
Fastball low.
Just like in his first at bat, Happ will challenge, most likely challenge Merrifield with a fastball here. Martin putting down the right finger. See him looking down that third base line. Yeah. Give me some dead red inside.
And he smacks it to the third baseman, Donaldson.
That's why before Martin put the sign down, he looked that direction because he called a fastball in, and Whitley hit it exactly where Donaldson was.
Donaldson was the man at third base for the Oakland A's when Salvador Perez ripped one down the line in that wild card game, and just beyond the reach of the diving Donaldson.
Yeah, and for fans here in Kansas City, that's all you got to say. You don't need to say what year it was. The wild card game. One of the greatest games ever.
The day Kansas City turned royal blue.
Oh man,
great Christmas book. Off speed, fouled off.
Okay, let's go back. I know you want to see it. Oh, Donaldson just before that pitch to move a couple steps to his left.
He made the last out, Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. And there's the first hit of the game. For Kansas City, it's Jorge Bonifacio going into second base with a 1-out double.
Oh, 8th double on the season for Bonifacio. He has got hands. I mean, let's watch him pull them in. Our Missouri Lottery Fox tracks will show you that. Little slider down the zone. Pull the hands in. One hand takeoff. A little top hand. But look at the head position. Very nice. Good straight stiff leg there. You like that. Good balance. He raked it. 1 out. Let's see if Locane can get the job done here and get him on the board.
And Kane has been terrific in the month of June. 14 for his last 40. Hits it to the right side. This will get Bonifacio to third base, but Kane out at first. And Hosmer has to come through against the lefty Happ.
It's okay, Haas. He's hitting over 300 this year against lefties. He could do the job here. 310, as a matter of fact. 2 out of the home runs of his 8 are against lefties. Blue Jays playing Hosmer in the infield straight up. Outfield Pilar, you see Pilar, he's on the third base side of second base, opposite field. And that's correct. I mean, this is how you should play Haas all the time, but every team thinks differently.
He goes after the first pitch. High chopper to first. They get it just in time. But Ned Yost saying not so fast. We ain't going to break yet. Let's check it.
Oh, you get so close to that bag and you just can't help it. You want to dive.
And Ned walking up the steps.
Make sure this is worth an RBI. It's a big look right here. Let's see if that hand. Nope. It's not going to make it. Good hustle.
Bonifacio left to third. We'll be right back. Thoroughbred Ford. Every day there's a great deal waiting for you at Thoroughbred Ford. Packed house at Kauffman Stadium. The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead, but we're early in this contest, going to the 5th. Bautista bats for the 3rd time. He is 2 for 2. And both times going to the opposite field. He started the night hitting just 105 in June.
A couple of breaking balls missing. June has been falling behind in the count a little more often than he wants to. Good fastball, good spot there on the outside part. Bautista knew it was coming, but he's off and away. Pulled out in front of it. We'll take that if it comes down. He's out.
Kane waves off Bonifacio and makes the catch. And there's one down. And our University of Kansas injury report. Danny Duffy, good to see him go out on the disabled list on the rehab assignment tomorrow with Omaha. And what they're hoping is that he'll have at least 3 starts to build up his pitch count. Hopefully he'll return right around the All-Star break. All things go well, but he looked really good on his live session with batters the other day.
He sure did. But the one thing that really disappoints him and what he would hope for is to be able to pitch in Dodger Stadium. That's what he said would hurt him the most. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him toe the slab there. Just telling you.
He was chomping at the bit to get out and throw in a competitive game. Dave Island waiting as well.
Oh, he's strong and determined. The mind is a very strong tool if you use it properly, especially focusing on the positive in healing.
Fly ball to right. Bonifacio will make the catch. And 2 out. And Hud, we were just showing Dave Island, and he'll have a new pupil to work with as the Royals designated for assignment today, Chris Young, who did a marvelous job for the Royals from 15 through this year. Feliz signed to a major league contract. He's in the bullpen tonight. Pitched for the Brewers this year, and his ERA was rather high, but Dave Island was taking a look at some videotape and saw some things that he might be able to correct, because this is a guy who throws 97 miles an hour.
Oh, love the stuff.
An 8-pitch inning for Jake Junis. 1, 2, 3 go the Jays. When we come back, Salvi will lead things off. As we take a look at the Toyota League leaders, nobody's been hotter than Salvador Perez since June 6th. .465 average, .86 slugging percentage. Also #1 in on base plus slugging percentage.
Anybody that hits over 400 for a long period of time registers to me as lava hot.
Strike one. Little cut fastball on the outside corner. Happ has shown a fastball that has reached 93 at times, 94 miles an hour. And there was the 92, and then at times he'll cut his fastball like we saw to open this duel with Perez.
He's doing a nice job. Slider's been he's been putting it right where he wants it, down and into the back leg of the righty.
Nope. And then he'll raise the batter's eye level by coming up, getting a fly out. Center fielder Kevin Pillar. Our sprint trivia question that we asked earlier: name the 5 Royals that hit a home run in the 2015 ALCS against the Blue Jays. How about Mike Moustakas?
Yeah, he's a part of that too. I'm going to say Alex Gordon. Put Alex in there. Nope. Sorry. Trying to get Alex in there. We got 2 more to go.
Haas.
Nope.
Well, Eske was the MVP of the ALCS. I don't remember him hitting a home run, but I do remember him hitting like every single time he came up. And remember how many times he would lead off the game swinging at the first pitch, knock, triple. Or wait a second, did he get an inside the park home run?
No, that was World Series. Fizz.
That's right.
Turn
yes.
a page. Let's go.
Sorry. I'm sorry I blew up.
No, Eske is not one of the answers.
Fouled off. Here is the answer for our fans.
Let's let him have it.
Salvador Perez, Ben Zobrist, and Alex Rios.
I remember Zobrist in Toronto.
Yeah.
Setting his bat down quietly.
Exactly.
Yeah. R.A. Dickey, he got him.
And Alex Rios, who came up with the Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful times. Moose had 3 hits against Boston, one of them a home run. Long blast up the steps beyond the bullpen. Punches this one to first base, but foul. He'll get another chance at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yep, that little breaking ball on the outer half, it's just hard to pull that and have any success with it. Happ's putting the ball where he wants it. Just 1 hit. He's given up, and that was a double in the last inning to Bonifacio. That's a little slider away. Moose trying to pull it. Fortunately, he's going to get another chance. Ball's way off the plate. Good spot. I'm not going to give Moose anything over the plate, especially now with 2 strikes.
Ooh, good swing there on a 2-2 fastball at 94.
That was the one. Just missed it. Moose 0 for 7 coming into this at bat here against Happ.
He does pull it to the right side. Happ's been able to get the left-handers out that way, so 2 down. Fans, get your costumes ready for Marvel Superhero Day at the K. Purchase Marvel Superhero Day themed tickets to receive an exclusive Royals Captain America bobblehead on July 23rd. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit royals.com/theme tickets.
Yeah, dress up as a superhero.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, come on, that's not better than Superman.
Really?
Let's go.
What if you got kryptonite? What if he's dating kryptonite? Carrying kryptonite?
He always seems to get through down, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Strike on the outside corner to Brandon Moss.
Would like to be Spider-Man, though.
That's my favorite. Just to be able to, you know, swing from building to building on a web.
Yep. Now Moss is in there because he's got good numbers off Happ in his career. Check him out. Beautiful thing. Hey, that'll work. Double, baby. Keep going. Oh, got a little excited. That ball with that kind of English, a jam shot, cue shot, call it what you want. Doinker. It had some spin going towards the left field stands, and when it hit, I thought it was going to kick further. Donaldson gave it a great effort, but just couldn't reach it. They're going to slider up, jammed him, and when you're going good, you got good numbers against a certain guy, that's going to fall. Now, I thought he might have wanted to double on that, but it didn't go as far as I thought it was going to go. Matter of fact, so much English on it, it just plugged right there. Look at that backspin, just kind of set right down.
Now the right-hander Escobar. Esky flied out to right field his first time up.
Oh, just get over 200.
Well, he was right at 200 when the game started, but then he made an out. Popped up, Martin behind the screen and has room, and that will do it for Kansas City. So we head to the 6th inning of play here at Kauffman Stadium. Former Royal Kendrys Morales will lead things off.
Now the Blue Jays got on the board. 4th inning. Morales got hit by a pitch at Tulowitzki with his 8th double on the season. Gapped him home all the way from first base. He scored. Wild pitch. Enabled Tulowitzki to score, and that's where we are right now. 2-0. Plenty of time to come back in this one. And again, for the 3rd straight time, Morales leading off an inning.
Just 2 hits for Kansas City, the double by Bonifacio and the single by Brandon Moss. Morales was hit by a slider on the back foot. Again, strong numbers. His best year with Kansas City was the World Championship season when he hit .290 with 22 home runs and drove in 106. Boy, did he provide protection for Perez, Hosmer, and Kane.
Better believe he did.
To Hosmer, to Junis, 1 out.
And you know what else is impressive about the Morales? The many things he did to Fizz was what a good athlete he is. And on defense, he played 19 games in his 2 years out there for the Royals. 15 at first base, 4 in right field, and never erred. He was a real sure bet on defense, especially when Haas needed to break it first. Impressive.
Here's Tulowitzki. Twice he's gone to right field. First time flied out to Bonifacio, and the other time lacing that double that you just saw to right center that drove in the first run. One ball, one strike.
Junis doing a nice job of keeping his team in the game. That's all you can ask for. He's kept the ball in the yard.
1-2.
Hasn't. He walked Pilar. I was going to say he hadn't walked a batter, but he has. And that's okay. Didn't score, didn't hurt him.
Merrifield will gobble it up. Throw out Tulo. Parents, sign your kids up for Sluggers Blue Crew to get your little ones all geared up for the baseball season. This year's membership includes a Blue Crew jersey, flat bill cap, special edition earbuds, Royals eye black, 2 home game ticket vouchers, and much more. Membership is just $30. Join now by visiting Royals.com/Blue Crew. Get that young man signed up. Here is Smith taking a first pitch slider, strike 1. Junis has retired 9 straight. 7 straight, I beg your pardon. Off speed. Scott Alexander begins to warm. As Junis right now at 81 pitches. Trying to finish 6. Back of the middle for a base hit. So Dwight Smith stays hot, 2 for 3 in this game.
He's finding some holes now. Junis stuck his pitching hand out there to block that ball, and fortunately it didn't work. It didn't stop, it didn't hit it. Now let's see. That's a good way to get on the 10-day DL for a pitcher.
Now Pilar, who walked his last time up. Ball 1. Seems like Junis has better command with his slider tonight than he does his fastball.
That's okay, because that slider is the harder one to hit.
He's kept that pitch down. Fly ball center field, came back. It makes the catch, and Jake Junis with a quality start. He's allowed 2 runs. The Royals offense needs to pick things up against Jay Happ. Gordo will lead things off when we come back. Sonic slam inning. The 6th is our slam inning, and our contestant is Mike Bean from Gardner. If the Royals hit a home run out of the yard in this inning, Mike, you get $1,100. But if the Royals hit a grand slam, well, the Royals would have the lead, and Mike would win $25 grand from Sonic and the Royals.
What an inning to give some cake away. Alex in there, largely because he's hit Happ very well in his career.
Fouled off left side, strike 1.
Anything to get him on, get him over, and get him in, get on that board here.
Alec grounded out to second base first time up. He was 0 for 9 in the Boston series, 0 for 7. And the Kubota power stats show you that Alex has gone deep against Happ. They're staying up, and he has the ability to elevate that fastball like a lot of left-handers. Jason Vargas will do that for Kansas City even at 85 miles an hour and get pop-up after pop-up. Vargas goes tomorrow afternoon. Full count. In the air, left side. Pilar wants it, takes it, 1 out. Time for a game break. Minnesota and Cleveland. Trevor Bauer to Jorge Polanco with a man on, and the Twins now in the 8th inning leading 5-0. And Mejia pitching for the Twins. How about that? Royals came in 4 games back of Cleveland for first place in the American League Central, and the 2 top teams were playing, Cleveland and Minnesota, with the Twins 2.5 games back when the day started.
Yep. It's going to be a great race later in the summer down the stretch. Happ just doing a nice job. He's hitting his spots. Now he's using, like I said, we told you before the game, 67% fastballs. That's a high number for a guy who's not really overpowering. But when you can locate it like you want and put it where you want it, that's the whole thing of pitching. And look what he's done. Hadn't walked a batter, he's throwing strikes.
Yeah, they've had a difficult time when Happ was out for a month and a half, and also Sanchez, who's been one of their top pitchers. And you look at their numbers last year. Happ and Sanchez were a combined 35 and 6 last year. You have 2 starters that do that. You're not going to lose. You're going to wind up in first place.
I'm not sure who that got, if that was Martin or Las Diaz, but Las Diaz looked like he was charging the mound on Happ. He came right out of there. And let me see who it hit. Oh man, Martin, yeah, right there on the shoulder. Look at Las. He's gonna go out and just have a chat with Happ. Ooh, shin guard and shoulder.
As goes out to the mound. Hey, your catcher got drilled, and I'm just going to make sure he has some time to recover.
Yeah, common courtesy. They'll both do for each other back there. Catcher and umpire, whenever they get a foul tip. Got have a little bit of time to get some feeling back in the area wherever you get hit.
He has made quality pitch after quality pitch, has not walked a man. Only 1 walk in his last 3 starts, including this one. Only 7 all year.
It's been a while since Whitley has hit a homer. May 30th. He's due. We've seen a lot of pitches too. 8 his first at bat.
And he was taking the ball to right field, and once again the wind blowing out towards right, about 20 miles an hour right now.
He's got 2 opposite field home runs this year here at the K. And that bullpen over there.
Oh, they called that a strike. Witt did not like the call at all from Diaz. He thought it was ball 4.
Another good located pitch. Keeping the ball down and away, and then he come in there and surprised him.
Yep.
And it's a little bit too close to take. If you don't hack, sometimes they'll send you back.
Is that from personal experience?
Oh, believe that.
Well, you weren't known for walking that much.
Oh no.
Bonifacio swings and misses at the first pitch. Strike 1. He doubled his last time up to left field. Happ retired the first 10 he faced, and then Bonifacio doubled, fights that one off, down in the count 0-2.
What a night for baseball, and to see every seat taken here at the K tonight on a Friday night. Oh, it's beautiful. Fireworks show. Got the big softball game before. Big slick.
You know, just walking our dog in the neighborhood, I run by neighbors. Hey, the guys are playing well. And they are. And there's a young'un.
That's another reason.
Excited. How about that? Pinky in her mouth. Lorenzo Cain fan.
Ooh,
oh man, he is painting
it.
the corners. We are through 6 in Kansas City. Jay Happ dealing. The Blue Jays leading 2-0, but a long way to go. full day of baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Kansas City, FS1 and Fox at 12:30. The Royals continue their series with the Blue Jays here on Fox Sports Kansas City. FS1 has the Brewers and Braves at 3, and on Fox it's the Pirates and Cardinals at 6. Remember, you can watch all of the games on Fox Sports Go app. And I know that from personal experience, sitting next to Rex Hudler on flights. He'll do his Fox Sports Go app, watch baseball games.
Or anywhere else where
Yep.
we are. It's been fun. Tell you what, modern technology is a beautiful thing.
Jake Junis will begin the 7th inning. He went 7 against San Diego. And he's pitched very well. He had one rough inning, and that was when he hit Morales to start the 4th inning, and Tulowitzki followed with the double. And then a wild pitch would score the 2nd run.
Yep, no, he's looked really good. He's fallen behind a few hitters, but he's been able to get back in counts with his off-speed pitches. 2-0. Better sliders coming. Nope, stayed heater.
There's a look of confidence right now. The young man from Rock Falls, Illinois. Just high. Now leadoff walk. The number 8 batter. 2nd walk in the game, and Goins can run.
And so can Parmalee, and Parmalee making his debut tonight, walking slowly to home, looking third base.
You thinking
Coach?
sacrifice here?
Yeah, he's a young rookie. They may try to.
Luis Rivera, the third base coach.
See more than warming up. I would imagine Parmalee could do the little things. Moose is in just in case he decides to bunt. 2-0 lead. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Pulls the bat back in time. It's 1-0. He had 3 sacrifices this year at AAA Buffalo. Career .251 hitter in the minors, but hitting .289 this year. And he gets the sacrifice down, and Sal's going to first base. They record the out. 1 down.
Salvador Perez wears the gold, and he's got 4 of them for a reason. But let's check out the batting technique. Barrel above the hands, that's right. And look at him, seeing the ball down, not trying to go out of the box. He's not bunting for a base hit. He's sacrificing, and that's what they call giving up yourself to advance the runner.
So we have a pitching change here in Kansas City. 2-0 Blue Jays in the top of the 7th. Here comes Peter Moylan. pitcher. That man will be Peter Moylan. As we take a look at that beautifully designed lineup by Don Wakamatsu. This is our Chevy pitching change. It is Peter Moylan coming on for the 33rd time this year.
Peter Moylan, he does a great job. He keeps that ball down, sinker slider combination. But very interesting is our camera guys, who are the best in the world, were able to pick up this. Watch this exchange. Ned slams the ball in his glove. Come on, mate. Get the job done right here. Get us back in the dugout. We're going to score some runs and come from behind again. Sinker slider, keep her down.
Bautista takes strike one. Jose 2 for 3, a pair of singles, both to the opposite field, facing the right-hander Junis, who throws a little harder than Moylan. Runner at second. One ball, one strike. There's that slow slider again. A lot of times you'll see a slider 83, 84 miles an hour, and this is almost curveball speed, 78.
It's a sweeper, and at the last minute it darts away like that. Now you take a swing on a slider like that, could mess up your lower back. I mean, that's how, what a fooler pitch it is. Wants it up.
Bautista didn't bite. One that was a little further away.
Two kind of sliders is important for Moylan. One starts at the batter and they take it for a strike, and the other one starts in the middle and gets him to swing away. But the sinker, really, the one inside, is the one that sets all that up. You like to show it at least once to a batter, a right-hand batter.
Wow. He got him to stretch his zone, and he reached for it, and it kept on sliding away, and Moylan with a big strikeout here in the 7th inning.
There it is. That's the one that finishes off the plate. Got the job done. Very effective. Oh, yeah.
Now another right-hander in Russell Martin. Strike one. His one hit was that screaming line drive that glanced off the glove of a leaping Mike Moustakas at third. And you can see Martin only one hit in 7 tries against the Royals right-hander. Just off the plate, 1-1.
Alex Gordon, 5 outfield assists in left field. He can throw them out. We know that. Locane's got a decent arm in center, but he's so far back it's hard to throw anybody out. Bonifacio has an average right field arm to a tick above, depending on what scout you talk to.
In there, 1-2.
The reason you want your right fielder to have the best arm is because you got a long throw to third base to throw out the runner. That's why your strong arms are in right. Stronger.
Guy ready for a rally. Tried to tease him with that breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Martin, with Donaldson looming on deck.
So you get the hitter looking for that slider out over the plate, and then he comes in with a sinker that has a little bit of movement in towards the righty, and sometimes he can get a strikeout with that pitch. That's what Salvi's calling for right here. Nope, stayed slider. The reason he's moving back there, Salvi, is starting in, is because with a runner at second base, sometimes they'll relay the sign or relay the location, and Salvi will move at the last minute. He tricked me. See Goins there, he's looking inside. Easy to give away location when you're out there to the hitter.
Walked him.
It's big time for the game right here. And if you want the Royals to come back, you've got to be able to hold them here with Donaldson coming up.
Donaldson just faced Moylan one time. He's over.
He had that right calf injury that set him down for a little bit this year. Breaking ball misses inside, ball 1. This guy with tremendous power. He has averaged 39 home runs the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, now see there, they saw what he did to Bautista, and the hitters now are patient anyway. They're going to make him throw a strike. They're not going to go up there swinging at the flailing and bailing. So Moylan at some point is going to have to come in there.
And Alexander's warming in the Royals bullpen.
He's done a good job. He's got to come in there right here. There you go.
Yeah.
Firm sinker. 91 too. That's nice.
Strike 2.
Beautiful. Pete's taking directions well. We showed you the exchange when Ned slammed that ball in his glove and he said, hey, look, mate, come on, let's get her done and get us back in the dugout. We need you here to shut them down.
Will he go with the slider on the 2-2?
Stay heater. Nope, he went with the slider and Donaldson had fooled him, but he's just trying to fight it off out to right field.
Jacob Junis went 6 1/3, allowed just 2, but the guy at second base belongs to him. 2 on, 2 out. Moylan with the 2-2 pitch. He struck him out. Stayed with the slider, and Donaldson flailing just threw his bat at the baseball. No contact.
Way to go, mate. Peter Moylan taking directions well from his skipper. Got him off balance. Get him some runs now.
Bottom of the 7th inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals. And that's the big slick celebrities singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Tell you, fantastic job on these guys coming out, entertaining the crowd, but also raising
Money for Children's Hospital.
Precious money, yeah. They got to have the funds.
Well, here is Jay Happ, who's been terrific through 6. He's allowed only 2 hits to the Royals. One a ringing double by Bonifacio and one a blue base hit by Moss. Middle of the order, Kane, Hosmer, Perez, and Happ gets strike 1. Lorenzo with 8 of his 10 home runs in the last 18 games.
Royals going to have to find some way, somehow, if they're going to get through Happ here. He's been dealing. Good veteran pitcher. He's got 2 quick strikes on Locane right now, and the Royals don't look like they're able to muster much. You can see 1, 2, 3 time through. That 3rd time, wow. Slim Pickens, league's only hitting 147 off him 3rd time through. They're going to have to make a change here and find a way. There you go.
And there's a base hit to left center field. Kane will make it with a leadoff double.
Oh, for his 13th, and how many times have we seen Locane and other Royals have a hustle double that fires up the entire team?
Martin wanted to pitch up.
Yep, so let's see, missed right down the middle. Locane was right there on him, but I love the hustle double. Check him out. Oh yeah, he sees it right now and he smells it. That's right. Hit that corner and you go. Plays in front of you, you know exactly where to slide. Woohoo! That's a nice start right there with Haas and company coming up. We've got to find a way. Keep this team hot. Happ's been pitching one heck of a game.
This is the time he will go for the strikeout. He has 4 tonight. Kane 14 for 14 stealing bases, but he has Haas, Perez, Moustakas coming up. I think he's staying put. That would be lovely.
Well, at least Happ is in his mind. Look at that view of the K here. All the people. The fact that Kane can steal. Happ's a little bit nervous. Maybe he'll leave a cookie up. And we've seen this combination before. See if this brings back any memories. Flashback. Haas at the plate. Little lofter down the right field line. A lot on this game, believe it. And this is game 6. Jersley keeps it coming. The K came unglued. Oh, that picture was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with Locane jumping up off the plate. That was a huge run against the Blue Jays, Fizz. Let's see if we can plate him with a lousy single right here.
Well, he's trying to pull him to at least get him to 3rd, but you know Hosmer wants to get him home, but now down in the count 0-2. 7th inning or later, he has been money. .330 average with 5 of his 8 home runs.
Now throw out that get him over with 2 strikes. You can just choke up on the bat, try to just put it in play somewhere, as Haas knows exactly how to do that.
Good block by Martin. He's wanting to get Hosmer out inside and down. Barnes and Luke warming in the Blue Jays bullpen. They're missing 2 of the relievers, Howell and Smith, on the disabled list. Oh, he had a good swing on one right down Broadway. Kane doubled.
See if Hosmer can't get a few more votes for the All-Star game coming up here with a base hit. Battling. Foul off those tough ones until you get the cookie.
He's seen 5 so far. Martin goes out for a visit, how they want to finish him off. They have options with a 1-2 count. Do you stay inside or you go sweep that slider away?
That's right. We'll see. But Haas wants to entertain this sellout crowd of 38,848 here at the K. Yeah, they are primed and ready for a big hit. Happ is facing the teeth of the order.
Came in.
That's a good spot. Very good spot. That he has options because he got ahead of Haas. And then this right here, and he's trying to jam him. You know, he's putting it in there so Haas can't spank him to left field. He likes to drive that ball out to left on pitches middle away. So they're trying to stay in on it. 5 fastballs out of the 6 pitches from Happ here. See if he makes a mistake. Another heater. Haas is looking like to pull him. He's trying to pull him to get located to third. That's the situation. With nobody out, you got the runner there. You want to try to get him over, make a productive out if you do make one. Salvi on deck. He's just being patient, keeping his rib cage nice and loose, timing Happ while he throws the ball in there. That's what you do when you're in the on deck circle.
This will get Kane to third base, and then it's bobbled by Goins. A great opportunity for the Royals as a huge mistake is made by Ryan Goins.
Very nice stuff at bat there by Haas. Trying to do the things he can, the little things to help the team, and ends up Goins boots it. 1, 2, third hop. Might have had time to lay back on that one. Haas runs well, but might have been a little bit too aggressive on that one. Hit him high on the heel.
Well, now the Boston Red Sox gave the Royals an opportunity by walking the bases loaded in front of this man. And Salvi drills one to left, and Smith can't hold on. Kane will score. Hosmer to second base, and all of a sudden Toronto can't catch the ball.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Happ has been cruising through this game, not making any mistakes, locating right where he wants to locate. But now all of a sudden, here it comes. He's missing. This is center cut. If he gets underneath, that's a homer. But he top spin it, had some sink. Smith Jr. at right made a great attempt. This is a very nice try here. That's a tough play, and he's lucky he got a little leather on that, else that would have scored Hosmer. So Junis, becoming a fan now, doing a nice job keeping his team in this ball game, is seeing some life. In front of this sellout crowd here, look, they're not done. Pete Walker, pitching coach, saying, hey, look, you got the tough chore here. You got Moustakas coming up, Moss, Escobar, Gordon. Got to stop the bleeding now.
Country Joe West, the crew chief, visiting with Salvador Perez and Rusty Coombs. Opportunity has been kicked open for the Royals. They've taken advantage by scoring 1 run. And here's the team leader in RBIs. And look what he has done with runners in scoring position. 25 of his 46 with runners in scoring position. Strike 1. Good. Nobody on. They have 3 infielders in the right side for Moose, but with 2 on, they have Donaldson over at third, and the shortstop Tulowitzki still on the shortstop side. Ooh. 0-2. Back-to-back lefties in Moustakas and Moss.
See what Happ does here now, way ahead. He's doing a good job getting ahead, but he's been leaving some pitches out over. Might try to sweep one away from Moose here, but you know, Moustakas has a really good idea on how to hit that baseball where they're not. In left field, he'll go to left when he wants to. Let's see if he gives in to Happ and just tries to put it out there. Martin wanted it up, and it ended up being way down, so Happ might be running out of gas. is that location command is just not there right now at 99. Next pitch is 100.
Mike Moustakas 4th in the American League in RBIs in the month of June. Seattle's Mike Zunino has 26. Moose with 20. Full foul.
Oh, Moose is a big fan favorite here. Listen to him call his name.
He's watching Salvi. Salvi made the play after the ricochet and then acted like he was going to throw it to Morales, and Morales just waved him off. This guy is a big kid. He has fun every day. Popped him up. 1 out. Fans get closer to the action at the K with a Royals Memories program. Choose between a variety of unique opportunities such as a photo on the field, watching batting practice, and delivering the game ball. All experiences are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com Ballpark app. Download the Ballpark app, pick upgrades, and select a once-in-a-lifetime experience you'll cherish forever. Well, Moss with great numbers against the lefty Happ.
Yep, and you know what? Moss, who hasn't seen a lot of playing time, could really use a hit for confidence right here. And not just for himself, but Hosmer would be able to score easily as the Blue Jays outfielder playing back. They're deep. Like to square one up.
Big swing, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's a very streaky hitter. He had a stretch where he hit 5 home runs over an 8-game stretch. One and 2.
Brandon thought that ball was off the plate. Just caught the corner. Good pitch. Happ. You gotta love John Gibbons letting Happ pitch his way through this inning here. Not going to the bullpen and getting any help. He's trusting his veteran pitcher.
Swung on and missed. 2 out. And here comes Gibbons. He wants the right-hander to face Escobar. We will see Danny Barnes when we come back. 2 out, 2 on, and you can decide which players you think are All-Star Game worthy by casting your vote through the Esurance Major League Baseball All-Star Game ballot on your computer, tablet, or phone. Vote today at Royals.com/vote and catch all of the excitement from Miami during the Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 11th on Fox. This is our Chevy call to the bullpen. Danny Barnes has been outstanding this year, a solid 2.3 earned run average, and opponents have an on-base percentage of .080 with runners in scoring position this year. He has 2 on with 2 out.
37 strikeouts and 31 1/3 tells me he's got a pretty good fastball. He'll low to mid-90s sinking fastball, slider change.
Escobar 0 for 2.
Looking there out over the plate. Don't try to lift him, just find a hole. And they're going to pitch him up in the zone because, ma'am, you are right. You're correct. It is 2 out magic time.
Fouled off, 1-1.
That fastball's the one he wants. Looks like he was up underneath that. We've seen Eske go to the opposite field and find a hole. Morales is playing him way up. Him and Salvi are having a nice conversation. Over there, Barnes trying to get ahead.
Tight 2-1. Hosmer at second, Perez at first. And then he chases one away from him. And that will even the count at 2-2.
Pretty much straight up. Goins the second baseman. He's kind of favoring Haas a little bit there towards the bag. Shading him there. Eske wants to shorten up that swing here now. Just try to put her in play.
Escobar mad at himself. He threw his gum down in anger. I think that was the pitch he thought he could drive to the opposite field.
You're going to get a couple of pitches to hit. He's already gotten them. Hopefully he can find some magic. We dropped a little nickname on him a few years ago, calling him El Mago. That means Magic Man. Mago. See if we can find some of that.
Tries to drop it to center field, but Pilar, former Gold Glove winner, is there to run it down. The Royals do get closer. They score a run. Hits by Kane and by Salvador Perez. All of a sudden, the Royals within 1 of the Blue Jays. test drive a Dodge Challenger or Charger at the Dodge Drive and Discover sales event going on now. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less. Salvador Perez will work with a new pitcher, and that man is the lefty Scott Alexander. Wonderful numbers at a 1.44 ERA. The Royals pen missed him when he was out for a month with a hamstring problem, but back and healthy now.
Sure is. Opponent's not doing much off of him. That ERA is sparkling 1.44. He'll take it. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he's got a very nice, hard, heavy bowling ball type sinker and slider. Occasional changeups. Keep it down.
Strike one. Morales 0 for 2, but he was also hit by a pitch and scored in the double by Troy Tulowitzki. Toronto coming in here after a split with the Texas Rangers. Chopper left side, Escobar. 1 out.
When you hear about a bowling ball sinker, a guy who has that kind of a late dipping life, and you got to think about Alexander. Now, 2 outings ago in Anaheim, huge. Check out this. That's some hard, heavy sinkers. Loaded mid 90s. Oh, you're a hitter. You got 2 chances, slim and none. And your infielders, they're going to make the play. This was a huge double play he turned on Father's Day. Oh, Scott Alexander's been a very big boost to that bullpen out there.
Kansas City had a great road trip. They went 7-2 to San Diego, San Francisco, and Anaheim. Here's Tulowitzki.
And when you have a sinker like that, all you need to do is throw it. He does 95% of the time.
He holds it a little bit differently. A lot of guys will go right across the seams and throw a 2-seam sinker.
Yep, he has a grip that he's worked on. It took him a while. He learned it from one of the best.
Scott Erickson.
Yep, Scott Erickson in Minnesota, but he wasn't with the Twins then. Erickson was trying to make a comeback years later, and he showed Alexander how to hold that ball, how he held it, and then Alexander took it. And it took him a whole year to try to get it to where it worked for him. He had to tweak it, and it worked.
Is it across just one seam?
Yep, he actually puts his fingers across the ball. It's pretty interesting how he holds it. But one of these days we'll have Joel and Monty break him down, get the ball out there, and show you how he does it. Now, you have to. It takes time.
Another bowling ball knocked to Escobar. He doesn't have a chance in Tulowitzki. I don't even think he throws him out, because Tulowitzki, good speed, was hustling down that line and is credited with a base hit.
Here's how he holds it. If you could pick that up. A little warm burner. Esky, heavy, hard change in, just couldn't get it. I'm not sure he would have thrown him out. I'm with you.
Well, it gives him an opportunity to get a ground ball double play.
I don't know.
I know Smith runs well, but we'll see.
Dwight Smith Jr.'s had a nice night tonight. He's really staying inside the ball. He's using the whole field. Center, left.
Pitch like that might open up the outside corner of the plate.
It's okay to back him off.
One and one.
Saw Alexander last night out here at the beautiful fundraiser Diamond of Dreams. Alexander was pumped about what he saw.
Oh man, again a chopper over the head of Hosmer. Tulowitzki will take second base, and Smith with his 3rd hit of the night.
Wow, when you're hot, you're hot. I thought Haas on the chopper might have been able to hop up and grab that one, but Smith Jr. is going good. Yep, that'll bring him over to second and third base with less than 2 outs. Anyway, Fizz, it was a great event the Royals put on last night. Leanne Rhymes was their entertainment. She did a great job. All the people, it was sold out. Good, successful fundraising event. Can't wait till next year.
For Royals Charities.
All right, defensively, they're in.
Now, would you consider walking Kevin Pillar to set up a double play? The Royals infield is in.
That's an option. But I think Ned's confident in Alexander that he can retire him.
Well, they do have the switch hitter Justin Smoke, who's been given the day off. They have him on the bench. They also have 3 right-handers in Barney, Maile, and Pierce.
And Alexander, he's done his thing, and they just happened to hop over Haas's head there in that little infield chopper. He's giving up ground balls. Good.
Good pitch on that sinker, and he has the advantage 1-2. It almost has a slider-like break to it. Needs one more. Tapped up the middle, fielded by Merrifield, holds the runner, throws to first, and they get to the important second out.
That little infield chopper, you know a sinker baller is pitching, and you're the runner at third base. You know you've got to be able to read that one hopper off the plate. And so Tulowitzki, you see him at the bottom of your screen, he wasn't moving, standing flat-footed, and didn't make an attempt on that to come home. But maybe he played it safe, but he didn't have any forward lean coming in.
So Darwin Barney will pinch hit. Barney's been one of their main pinch hitters this year. He is 2 for 7 as a pinch hitter. Overall this year, hitting .225 with a couple of home runs.
Every hitter Alexander's faced has done the same thing. Hit the top of the ball. You see him holding that grip right there, Fizz. He's got the grip, and when we get a little slow motion here, we'll freeze it on contact and show you how he holds it. See that? He's not exactly on top of the ball with the seams. He's caddy corner with him.
Ball 1. Royals scored a run to get the momentum their way in the bottom of the 7th inning, and they want Alexander to shut out the Blue Jays here in the top of the 8th inning. Just off the plate, 2-0. Shortstop Escobar, quick toss, got him.
Excellent job by Alexander, and that play by Escobar, he made that look easy, and it wasn't. with that sinker. There it is. There's that grip, and he throws it, and the bottom falls out of it. 5 ground balls he induced there. Barney's slip coming out. It's a good thing, because watch Escobar throw flat-footed. Look at that, no momentum, just get it over there. He's a Gold Glover, and Rusty loved it there in the background. You see that? That's right. That is a cap tipper. See if they can continue their momentum.
Barney stays in the game at second base. Justin Smoke comes in to play first base for Kendrys Morales. And Danny Barnes remains in the game as the pitcher and gets strike 1 to Alex Gordon. Gordon 0 for 2, ground out, fly out. Off the plate, 1-1.
Daniel Barnes starting Alex out with 2 changeups. He's got a fastball, low to mid-90s slider, 3/4 arm slot.
He's a guy it took a while to get to the big leagues. Was only Toronto's 35th round pick in 2010 out of Princeton. You don't see too many Ivy Leaguers pitching in the big leagues, but there's one.
And the Royals said goodbye to possibly one of the greatest ever to come from Princeton, and Chris Young today.
He was designated for assignment, and the Royals agreed to a deal with Neftali Feliz. Career 3.43 ERA with 107 saves with Texas, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Milwaukee. Alex pops it up foul. That'll get back and out of play. Gordon with 3 home runs in all 3 this month. Wind still blowing out to right. And there's the changeup, swung on and missed for strike 3.
Fastball changeup combination is working for Daniel Barnes.
Merrifield 0 for 3. Going after the first pitch, popping it foul. Royals have had a tough time squaring things up tonight. They haven't really squared up only 3 balls. Well, the line out also by Mike Moustakas earlier tonight, but the double by Bonifacio, the double by Kane, and the single by Perez, but not much. There is one, but Smith will get that. Gets by him. Oh my! Dwight Smith having a devil of a time catching the ball in left field. That may have gotten in the lights.
Whitley with his 9th double of the season this year, staying in the middle of the field with a good swing. Had some sinking action to that ball, and I thought it looked like it was going to stay up enough for Smith to catch it. And he might have had some issues with the lights, because sometimes, and you can tell if I had kind of winced a little bit, maybe that happened. But let's see if the Royals can capitalize again on a ball that is not caught. But Whitley will take the double.
And the Royals with another opportunity because of mistakes by the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays came into this game having made 20 more errors than Kansas City. Those little things that you don't do, the outs you don't record, that lead to trouble. Bonifacio is 1 for 3 in the game. That double came off Jay Happ back in the 4th. Kansas City 1 for 7. That one hit, Salvador Perez, base hit that gave the Royals their only run.
And it could have been caught again by Smith Jr., but wasn't. And let's see what Bonifacio can do.
He had the big walk in the 8th inning on Wednesday that led to Salvador Perez's grand slam. Big swing and a miss.
Fastball 93. That ball was there. He's undercut it. Just a little bit too much uppercut there.
0-2. Kane waiting. Right-handers only batting 176 off Barnes.
Barnes, you know, he's got excellent command, location. He's able to put it right where he wants it. But he's staying firm with Bonifacio here. He's not going to throw him a little slider. At least not anything up in the zone. Right here, he's ahead in the count. Martin wants it down.
Fights it off.
Outfield playing straight up on Jorge. That's the right idea. Anything close, you got to be hacking. That tie and run out there, running out of time tonight. It's in front of a sellout crowd. Anything close, be hacking. She wants to see another run cross the plate.
High and tight, 2-2.
Actually, that's a pretty good pitch right there. You want to loosen them up. Everything's been around that plate there. You give a little chin music there. That sometimes works. But hopefully Bonifacio will stay in there on this one here, because he could try to nibble on the outside part of the plate.
3-2.
Lorenzo Cain on deck. Barney been using, excuse me, yeah, Barnes been using fastballs. Look for it.
Got him to pop it up. Russell Martin near home plate. 2 out. And Givens is going to make a move. He wants another pitcher to come on to face Lorenzo Cain. I only saw a right-hander warming up in the bullpen. It will be Ryan Tepera to come out of the bullpen.
Biden time. Locaine checking out the book of knowledge of Dale Swaim. What this young pitcher has Ryan Tepera. Let's see what he's got here. The opponents aren't doing much off him. 167. That's a pretty good mark right there. That ERA is not too shabby at 2.63. Let's see. He likes to cut the fastball. And he's got a nice little changeup. But he's going to come in there with cutters.
Right-handers only batting 145 off Tepera. Here's a right-hander, Lorenzo Cain.
Cain. Seen him before.
Big swing on the first pitch, strike one.
And the 2015 ALCS in Game 4, Cain went 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs versus Tepera. So let's see what he can do now. Down 0-1.
Merrifield at second base with the 1-out double. Bonifacio popped up with the second out.
It's not overpowering. He's got good hittable fastball. His four-seamer can get up to 95. But he works better. His ball has better movement when in the low 90s.
We just saw Eric Hosmer in the on-deck circle, but no lefty is up in the Toronto bullpen. They're counting on Tepera right here.
Yep. He has 2 lefties out there. Bellevue and Loop.
It'll find the seats down the right field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tepera's been one of their best out of the bullpen this year. Opponents batting .056, 1 for their last 18 over his last 6 contests. So Martin jogs out for this important visit. Bottom of the 8th, Toronto leading 2-1 in Game 1 of this 3-game series. We've got 2 afternoon games for you. We'll invite you to the K. Vargas and Estrada tomorrow afternoon. Then on Sunday, Hamill against Liriano. He struck him out.
Good pitch.
time this year. A record of 3-2, 3.41 ERA. A lot of strikeouts, 38 in 29 innings.
He can be sneaky with his fastball. He'll get it up there to the low to mid 90s at times whenever he wants to. He's a pitcher, and he's got a slider, slow curve, split finger, changeup combination. He's got a bunch of weapons to use.
Well, perhaps he'll be the recipient again, because he earned his 3rd victory of the year Wednesday, tossing the scoreless 8th ahead of Perez's go-ahead grand slam. So shut him down and let the boys in blue that do their damage in the bottom of the 9th inning when Hosmer, Perez, and Moustakas come up. Both these teams started very slowly this year. The Royals at one time were 10-20, 25-16 since. Good big curveball, slow at 70 miles an hour. Advantage Soria 1-2.
Look at that rotation. It's straight up and down. That's 12-6. They call it on the clock. He can get away with a pitch up in the zone against Parmelee. Young man looking for his first big league knock.
And I'm sure when he talked with his hitting coach, he said, what does this guy throw? Well, the answer was everything,
including the kitchen sink.
He struck him out.
Like a little split finger action. Beauty.
He really does have a good one. Tremendous command of that pitch too.
Yep. And he keeps it down below the knees right there. You get a lot of swing and misses.
Jose Bautista gets a few more boos. He is 2 for 4 in this game. Singles his first 2 times up. Since is flied out and struck out.
Oh, those are Moose calls.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
Only because Moose moved 2 steps to his right.
They watch every move Moose makes. Uh-oh. Did it again.
Boy, he has 3 opposite field hits tonight.
How about that? That's by design. You can tell. Even he was ahead in the count like that. He just said, I'm going to hit that hole over there.
Splitty.
Yeah. And that one stayed up. It stayed up in the middle. It's a good thing he was thinking going that way. Not trying to pull it.
Now Russell Martin. He's been on twice, reached on an infield hit back in the 3rd, and then walked in the 7th. Strike 1. The Royals have turned 1 double play tonight, and it was the strike him out, throw him out double play in the 1st inning.
And a huge key for Junis. That was nice. Soria's he's gonna work the hitters. Look at the high at 94 and low, that slow curve at 70. He has induced 3 ground ball double plays in his time this year.
A range of 24 miles an hour.
That'll do it.
That'll throw you off. Very rarely see the same pitch back to back from Joaquin.
Right. Keeps him guessing. That's what you want. Throw off the timing of the hitter. Every seat taken here at the K tonight. Why not? End of the week, fireworks show, great weather. Oh man.
The Royals trying for their 20th win at Kauffman Stadium. They started the night at 19-17, taking 2 of 3 from Boston earlier this week. Three and 2. Again fouled off.
Martin doing a nice job here. He's looking for that mistake. Bautista at first base got thrown out, like you mentioned, on the double play in the first inning. Makes him 4 out of 6. 3 and 2, 1 out. The initial dive right there by Bautista, he slipped and he landed awkwardly. Did a little belly flop. Joe West is laughing at him.
And Soria with a quick pitch there, but throws inside for ball 4, and now trouble's coming with Josh Donaldson. And I don't care if this guy is 4 for his last 30 and tonight 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He is dangerous just walking up to that batter's box.
Yep, just 1 for 4. A strikeout. Let's see if somehow, some way, Soria can induce that double play ball. Be huge. Ball down. Now hanging curve balls and split fingers may not be the choice pitch here to Donaldson. Salvi's probably saying, okay, let's keep everything down and away from him and hope he wants to pull the ball. That's how you get a double play.
Two on, 1 out. Royals got out of a 2-on, 1-out jam in the 8th inning. Alexander getting a pair of groundouts from Pilar and Barney. And swinging early is Donaldson, fouling it off, strike 1.
Donaldson with 3 strikeouts already. And a ground out to the shortstop, which is really what Soria would like. Another one of those.
0-2. Justin Smoak on deck, who came on defensively for Morales in that last half inning. So he's hitting in Kendriss's spot. A bloop to right field, and that's going to drop. It will score a run, and Toronto goes in front 3-1.
Well, there's a professional at bat right there and a run producer that knows how to knock him in. Just shortened up his swing. They tried that off-speed pitch again. See how he loads those hips, keeps a good steady head, and he just guided it right out there. He's smart. A little breaking ball, just kind of stayed up a little bit and he guided it right, went right with it. That's a great hit for him.
And that's a big run for Roberto Osuna, who is their closer. And Osuna not up right now, so maybe they will stay with the guy who made that final out, Tepera.
Smoke is having an all-star caliber season. There's no doubt about it. He's having some kind of offensive year that's what they've been expecting from him. Former #1 pick by the Texas Rangers.
Then on to Seattle, now with Toronto. He has been one of their hottest hitters of late, but it was a scheduled day off for him. Curveball hit on the ground to left field. That's a base hit. Will score one more, and it's 4-1 Toronto.
Now, curveballs have been up, even a split finger early in this, and when you're up in the zone like that with that slow pitch like that, in big league hitters, they're going to find a way to put it in play. Just not working. That is a hanger. I mean, belt high, right center cut.
So Dave Island comes out for a visit. Joakim Soria along with Salvador Perez. Conversation is brief. Soria came on with the Royals trailing by just 1 and struck out the first batter, Ian Parmley, but since then he has yet to record an out. A single, a walk, a single, another single. Now Tulowitzki, there's the ground ball they were looking for. They've got one, but that's it. Dwight Smith has had a night, 3 for 4.
Offensively, he has.
Yeah. Defensively, some night he'd like to forget.
Well, you know, it wasn't like they were clanks, they were hits. They were all difficult reading plays out there. I mean, he had a sinking liner that Salvi hit to him, and that was a tough chance on that. And a little gapper there, he might have lost in the light. So he wasn't given any errors on the play, but certainly has found holes with the bat.
Hey.
0-2. Once again, 2 afternoon games tomorrow and Sunday. Both 1:15 starts. He struck him out, but the Blue Jays score 2 to take a 4-1 lead. Still, Aaron Hosmer will lead things off and be followed by Perez and Moustakas.
Jump on him.
game 1 of this 3-game series. Jays and Royals were in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Tepera will stay in the game. Obviously, Roberto Osuna, who is their closer with 19 saves, has worked a lot in that Texas series, so not available tonight. So Tepera will try and get his 2nd save of the year, and he has to go through 3 power hitters: Hosmer, Perez, Moustakas, and then another if they get on. And Brandon Moss.
Set the table up, get a few guys on, couple bloops and a blast, see if they got some finishing power tonight.
There is strike 1. Hosmer swings and misses. 0-2.
Got a nice slider. Tepera, he's going to cut it, slide it, 4-seam, fastball, and a change.
They have pitched Hosmer the same way all 4 at-bats. Down and in with the breaking ball. Now they want to test him up. Perez waiting his turn. He reached base 4 times on Wednesday and then lifted everybody from their seats with that grand slam that won it. Ooh, he was asking for it up, and it was really in Eric's wheelhouse, and he spun it straight back. Boy, they are really flirting with trouble here, working up in the strike zone with Hosmer. Now they got ahead in the count 0-2, giving Tepera some options, but they had such success down and in with that slider.
That, you know what, they're pitching him up there because they know he likes that pitch, but they're trying to go elevate just a little higher. Hopefully they'll get a pop-up.
Now the down and in. Whistles it foul. Yeah, I think they've seen the trouble that Eric has caused with pitches middle away. Fastball away. And Eric with a good idea trying to send it down the left field line, but it's foul.
Great idea. He's hanging in there, man. I'll tell you, he's seen some pitches. Number 9 coming.
Good battle.
Sure enough, that cutter in on way off the plate. Haas definitely in swing mode. He's not looking for a walk.
And then Eric drills it on the line, but right at the right fielder Ian Parmley for out number 1. Time for our Jeep drive of the game. It was Salvador Perez who drove in the Royals 1 run tonight.
It was. It had the sinking liner there. It was. Now Smith, he didn't line it up exactly the way he wanted to. He thought he was going to make the catch. Locaine wasn't sure. but they'll certainly take the run.
Oh, 1. Salvador Perez with a drive to deep left field. And Perez is able to reach second base. The ball beyond Smith up against the wall, and the Royals still with light.
Excellent drive. Now, Salvi, he hit it off the end. I could tell by the sound, but the 14th double of the season, he'll take. That's what they need, some base runners. Yeah, it's a good swing. Smith again making a good route, taking a good route to the ball, but couldn't come up with it. See how it just gets over his glove.
Inches.
Yep.
Just a reminder, after the game, our Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. It's another rally in store. Quality work from Junis, who gave up just 2 runs in 6 1/3 innings, but the Royals unable to do much offensively with Toronto. Moustakas with a drive right. Strike 1. KC needs to get 1 more man on to bring the tying run to the plate.
Great time for his 20th. Looking fastball, just out of his zone.
You know, Rex, rather than hit a home run, I would rather see him just get on.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes home runs can be rally killers because all of a sudden bases are empty and you still have the lead.
You're right. Maybe he can find a hole anywhere on that left side. It's a little weak ground ball to the shortstop. It's not there. That would work. 2-strike approach to see if he goes to it.
Shallow left center. Tulowitzki will run it down. And there are 2 out now.
Good try.
So the Royals down to their final out. Moss 1 for 3 in the night, a pair of strikeouts and a single to left. Royals with 20 comeback wins this year, including 5 trailing after the 7th inning. Ball 1. Royals down to their final strike. Moss only able to foul it off.
Martin getting beat up behind the plate tonight. Taking a lot of foul tips. But he wanted to beat Laz Diaz out to the pitcher's mound this time. Says, I'm all right. Come on, quit showing me up.
Moss flips it foul. He's done a good job against Tepera. Tepera's got a ton of pitches as well. Fastball, cutter, sinker, slider, change, and for a relief pitcher to use that many.
Yep.
Once again, you really should get to the K tomorrow because Jason Vargas will be going for win number 11. Vargas very deserving of being selected to this year's American League All-Star game in Miami. He has had a sensational year. Marco Estrada has had some good games against the Royals in the past, but this year an ERA near 5. He's battling. Three and 2. Moss trying to get on any way possible to bring that tying run to the plate.
Staying alive. You know, Fizz, what's impressive here is that the Royals hitters are not giving away any at-bats. They are competing, and they are competing to the very final out. These hitters aren't giving in.
I mean, Hosmer had a quality plate appearance and then lined out directly at the right fielder, Parmley. Perez then doubled over the head of Dwight Smith. And that'll get back to the screen. That's ball 4, so Perez will take third, and Moss is now on, and the Royals still with a chance with Escobar coming up. Out comes Pete Walker one more time. Now, I saw Aaron Loup warming in the Toronto bullpen. I'm sure that would be for Alex Gordon, who's in the on-deck circle. But how about Brandon Moss? He was down 1-2 in the count, fought back. You see Luke continuing to warm in the Toronto bullpen. Good plate appearance by Moss. Escobar, who caused so many problems for Blue Jays and Blue Jays fans back in the 2015 American League Championship Series. He was named the MVP, hitting .478, but 0 for 3 tonight. Twice facing Jay Happ, once facing Danny Barnes. He's flied out, popped up, and flied out. Perez at third, Moss at first.
He's got a nice fastball tonight. His fastball is really zipping in. The little two-seamer had some life coming in. Cutters away, sliders away. Pick one out, big hole up the middle. Just get on base, that's all they need. Runners.
And Hud, you wonder how often Tepera has been asked to throw more than 30 pitches. You know, he's gone more than an inning in this one, and he's thrown 31 so far.
I would imagine not many times. But this is how you score points with your manager.
Bloop to right field. That's going to drop. Salvador Perez scores. Moss to third, and the Royals still with hope.
That's what you want to do, to shorten up the swing, keep the line moving. And Gibbons is coming out. He's going to replace him, but you know, Escobar, a little booty knock. How about that, huh? He hadn't seen a booty knock in a while. That's when the backside falls out, head position's right there, and you just dump it right out there between the outfielders.
So the lefty will be called on to face Alex Gordon, and we'll be right back. The Royals continue to come back. Toronto still has a 2-run lead, but the Royals have 2 on. Moss at third, Escobar, you just saw it first, and now Aaron Loup comes out of the bullpen to face Alex Gordon. One thing Alex knows, this guy doesn't walk many. He has walked just 3 of his last 52 batters faced, but lefties have hit him lately. They're batting .391 with 4 extra base hits over his last 15 games. Alex Gordon has 2 walk-off home runs.
Let's see if, as the Royals at bats this inning have been wonderful. They've battled and they've really worked. Loop's not overpowering. Sinker, slider, change curve. He's going to try to finesse you.
And that's up the middle. Base hit for Gordon. Moss scores. Escobar takes third. How about these Royals?
The 20 come from behind wins. They mean a lot. That's a great characteristic for any time of the season to have in your team, knowing that you're in every single game. And these at-bats have been great. Alex not wasting any time. Knocks in a run.
Getting 3 outs in the 9th inning is so difficult. Jason Grilli, a 40-year-old reliever, comes out of the bullpen. 4 big hit. Blue Jays lead by 1. Jason Grilli comes out of the bullpen. Kansas City has him on the corners with 2 out. 2 big hits by Escobar and Gordon have drawn the Royals to within 1. Grilli this year an ERA near 7.
Look at the 9 homers, Biz.
And that is tied for the most in the major leagues among relievers, and his 4 losses rank tied for 5th most.
Fastball slider.
Whit Merrifield the batter.
Pick 1 out. Stay short to the ball. Just lousy single would work.
Ball 1. Roberto Osuna is their closer. He didn't get up in the 8th inning to prepare for the 9th. We talked with the Toronto Blue Jays broadcasters. They don't know why Osuna is still in that dugout. So it's Grilli, who was a former closer, but that was years ago.
Look out over.
2-0.
Oh, the sellout crowd is putting a little pressure on the Blue Jays here.
Lifted foul, 2-1. In 2013, Grilli was the Pittsburgh Pirates closer. He had 33 saves. So he's been in pressure situations quite often. Three and 1.
Gotta be right there. Right down the middle. And take the chances. Try to hit it back up the middle. Stay away from any fielders.
There's a shot to left. Over the head of Smith. Escobar scores. Here comes Gordon. You can't be fun at the old ballpark. Wow. Another wild comeback.
Just another come-from-behind victory. The Royals, they were relentless this inning. Their hitters, they saw 33 pitches in the inning and had been trailing all year long, 0-29 when trailing entering the 8th inning until now.
Look at Ned.
Whitley Merrifield with a tremendous eye up there. 3 and 1. He's looking for the cookie. He got it. Smith Jr. out there. He came in, went back. He didn't know what to do on that. And again, when the crowd shakes, the camera, look at Salvi. It all helped. Look at Ned. Ned behind him.
And Whit Merrifield got mugged at the end, and the hero is with Joel.
All right, Biz, thank you very much. In front of a sold-out crowd, Whit Merrifield will get the walk-off bat. All right. That sure escalated quickly. Tell me about the emotions and the excitement of hitting a walk-off in front of a sold-out crowd.
It's unbelievable. It's a feeling like no other, and just to have everyone stuck around. I don't see an open seat. It's pretty incredible.
This team has something special going right now. It certainly has its mojo back. But how much, even on Wednesday, with that Salvi Perez grand slam, is that in your minds, or at least knowing that, hey, we can do this till the end?
Yeah, with the lineup that we have, we're never out of the game. And, you know, we're playing well right now. We're getting hits when we need to get hits, and it's fun. It's a fun ride right now.
At what point, if at all, do you start thinking about, I might have the chance to come up here and do this, because a lot still had to happen?
Yeah, you know, looking at it, going into the bottom of the ninth, I knew if I had a chance to get up to hit, I was going to be able to have a chance to win the game. Guys just kept putting together good at-bats and good at-bats and passed it down, and we had a chance at the end to win, and we took advantage.
Well, you are covered in water from the Gatorade bucket. It looks like you're missing a button and took a beating. How much fun was that?
That was unreal. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Great job. Whit Merrifield.
Too legit to Whit. In the ninth inning, the Royals trailed by 3 with 2 outs. A hit by Escobar, a hit by Gordon, and then this. Whit Merrifield, the Royals come from 3 down to win it.